Hey guys, it's Sasha. So until now, the question of what is the cheapest investing app in the UK had a very simple answer. It was Trading 212. They attracted 1.4 million customers with a completely free proposition, but they've just introduced a new fee. They now charge 0.15% for foreign exchanges. So anytime you go and buy any stocks or any ETFs or anything else in a currency other than the one in which your account is in my case pounds, you will have to pay that fee. Now that fee is still very, very cheap, but suddenly the question of which platform is the cheapest doesn't have a simple answer. In fact, there are multiple different answers depending on exactly what you do and how you do it. I actually went and did a comprehensive write down of exactly what the different charges from all the different platforms out there are and exactly how much it would cost you to do different kinds of trades, and I'm going to explain exactly what the answers are. Just for clarity, if you are a billionaire and watching this video and you have nothing else to do with your billions, some additional platforms do exist where charges such as like £12 per trade might actually be cheaper for you because they're not percentage based and they will actually probably be very, very cheap in your case. But for mere chumps like me who don't have that kind of money, who will just maybe have a few thousand or something like that to go and invest, I am not going to be covering those platforms. I'm just going to be covering the ones that are accessible to regular, normal, everyday investors. I will also in this video not talk at all about the features of these platforms because that will make this video very, very long. I'm just going to be talking about the costs. Now, I'm going to be talking about the different platforms that are all classed as cheap, and I'm going to cover all the different ones, including all the ones that people keep mentioning in my comments, just so that people know that I've considered all of them so that you understand exactly where the value might be. Specifically, the ones I'm going to be talking about are Trading 212, FREETRADE, ETORO, Stake, DEGIRO, and IG. Now, I'll do a very quick rundown of each individual platform so that you know what the key fees are. I'm not going to mention every single one, and I'm going to explain why as I go through them. And I'm also going to ignore CFDs, crypto trading, and all of that kind of stuff because I'm just talking about regular investing in this video. If you want to understand that side, you need to go and do your own research for yourself outside this video. I'm also going to ignore stocks and shares ISA accounts from this video. I'm going to make a separate video about those accounts and the relative pricing that I'm going to release at some point very soon because that's a different question and that doesn't apply to anyone who isn't in the UK as well. Now, here is a summary. Trading 212 remains incredibly cheap. The only fee that you have to pay as it stands from the 3rd of April 2021 is the 0.15% foreign exchange fee on every transaction in a currency that is not the one of your account. Deposits via card cost 0.7% as of several weeks ago for anything over 2,000, but bank transfers are still free and they are pretty much immediate now. So it doesn't really matter. You don't have to pay that fee. So that's the foreign exchange fee is the only one. Next up is FREETRADE. FREETRADE charges 0.45% foreign exchange fees on the same foreign transactions, but that is the only fee that they do charge unless you want to set up at the ISA, which is £3 a month. There are less features and some are hidden behind a paywall. So the Plus account does allow you things like limit orders or stop losses and things like that, but you do have to pay that extra fee for that. A big difference is that they went and put all these fees out there up front. They didn't go and do any kind of pretending that they're free or very cheap and then introduce them. So there's definitely a big plus for me on the honesty and transparency side there. Now, next is eToro. eToro have a 0.5% fee for loading money into the account that isn't in US dollars, and another 0.5% plus $5 in order to withdraw it. Now that's for pounds and euros. If you use a different currency and you want to transfer a different currency, your charges may be higher as they are for some other ones. Some people find that they can actually go and convert the money cheaper elsewhere, like through Revolut or somewhere else. But I'm going to not talk about these alternatives because for the majority, they're not going to be doing that. So that's the only fee. That's the only fee you're going to have to pay for regular investing, like the kind that I do. And the beauty here is that it doesn't apply to every single trade, like with FREETRADE and Trading 212, and that's where it gets a bit interesting. Interestingly, also, eToro don't charge UK stamp duty on investing in big UK stocks, unlike every other broker, and they actually pay it themselves, which means they are really interesting when it comes to buying UK stocks. We're going to come to that in just a second. Other than that, there are no other fees. There are a lot of fees, as I mentioned previously, on CFDs and crypto. They don't apply to the kind of stuff I'm talking about, so I'm not going to talk about them. Stake It's a relatively new app. It got a lot of coverage in a short space of time. You might have noticed on YouTube with some of the big YouTubers, because they ran a campaign, shall we say, with influencers. And they have a very similar 0.5% foreign exchange fee to eToro when you load the money in, but they charge a $2 fee when you withdraw on top of that rather than the $5. So that's pretty good, although there is a minimum. There's a $2 minimum on that foreign exchange fee. So that means if you deposit or withdraw less than $400, you're going to be paying $2 as a flat fee. And so it's only 0.5% for larger amounts above $400. Now, for anyone who wants to try to cheat the system, like with eToro, you can't really do it here, because if you go outside of their app to go and convert and then load dollars in, you're still gonna have to pay $5 per transfer, because they thought of that trick. So there's no way of doing it for free. Now, I know I said I'm not gonna talk about features, and I am not, but here is a really important point. Deposits and transactions on stake are incredibly slow compared to all the other platforms I'm gonna be talking about. You have to wait for days to wait for your money to come in, and you also can only trade with cleared funds. With other ones, you don't have to wait until the money's cleared in order to reinvest. And that's really important, because you have to wait 2 full days for transaction to settle. So if you sell something, that's how long you have to wait before you can buy back. If you want to trade instantly, like on the other apps, you do have to pay an extra $9 per month for Stake Black, and another 0.5% to have your deposit available the very next day. So not immediate, but the next day. So it is just important to consider, because although these are not compulsory fees, they will still apply. Now, DEGIRO, they do seem to be getting more popular. I'm getting a lot more comments on them, but their pricing structure is incredibly complicated. It is crazy compared to the other apps. It is very long. There are different profiles that you can choose when you first set up the account, depending on what you're planning to do with the account, whether you're sort of a long-term investor or an active day trader. But the fees are roughly similar and pretty much the same for the key stuff that I'm going to be talking about. Now, to trade stocks on the London Stock Exchange costs £1.75 plus 0.014% for a maximum of £5, although that £5 only kicks in at like what, 23,000 or something like that. US stocks cost 50 euro cents plus 4 US cents per share. I did tell you, I did warn you, these are crazy and weirdly complicated. Higher fees do apply to other markets as well. ETFs cost €2 plus 0.03% to trade. You then have to pay €2.50 per year to connect to each exchange in order for you to be able to trade on it. So for example, if you buy stocks on NASDAQ and on New York Stock Exchange and some others, you have to pay €2.50 per one to connect to it, except your home exchange, which is free. So for me, that would be my London Stock Exchange, for example. I know, I did warn you, this is really weirdly complicated. Then on top of this, you need to pay extra €5 to get live prices from NASDAQ, for example. But that feature is not even available on some other big markets like the New York Stock Exchange. There are a huge number of other fees listed in here that I'm not going to cover in this video. So if you want to find out all the other ones, you can go and read. These are probably the most important ones that probably would apply to the majority of people. A lot of the other ones probably will not. Last on my list is IG. They also have a 0.5% foreign exchange fee, but they do allow you to hold money in US dollars in your account, which means it can be a one-off fee like with eToro and Stake. I'm going to come to that in just a second. There's a but. Other fees with IG do depend on your activity. If you make 3 or more trades per month, you will pay nothing to trade US stocks, and you only pay £3 to trade shares per trade on LSE, on the London Stock Exchange. If you are less active, so if you don't make the 3 per month, you have to pay £10 and £8 for those trades respectively. However, there is one trick. If you look in the small print underneath, it does say that the trade fees are only cheap, like the ones I mentioned, if you can let them convert their money using their foreign exchange fee. If you converted manually and use that money that you've converted to trade afterwards, you then have to pay a fee of $15 or more per trade. If you don't make 3 trades per month, you also have to pay a monthly custody fee of £24, which is quite expensive. So after all of that, now that I've given you all the key fees for all the features, for all the platforms that everyone keeps talking about, which is the cheapest? Well, let me break it down for you. 1, if you passively invest in UK stocks, then FREETRADE and Trading212 are the cheapest platforms. They will charge you nothing. You only have to pay 0.5% stamp duty when you buy those stocks with both of those platforms. Stake is very, very close. They have that $2 withdrawal fee being the only difference, but the big difference is the difference in features. So you have to wait for funds, you have to wait for money to settle before you can reinvest, and that's a big factor. If you invest in UK stocks more actively, so if you buy and sell them over time using the same money, then actually this changes. eToro becomes the cheapest. You will lose 0.5% when you load money in and another 0.5% plus the $5 when you draw the money out, but eToro covers stamp duty. So if you buy and sell 2 different UK stocks with the same money, then suddenly eToro will become the cheapest platform, because after that, essentially, you are not paying the stamp duty, but you've already covered the cost of depositing, withdrawing money, that 0.5%, by not having to pay for the stamp duty. It's an interesting trick. So if you frequently invest in UK stocks and you move money between them, eToro actually becomes cheaper. If you invest in UK-based ETFs that are priced in pounds, like the VUSA, for example, for the S&P 500 that I personally invest in, and FREETRADE and Trading212 continue to be the cheapest options, where this is completely free, other than the cost of the ETF itself, which is the same everywhere. If you passively invest in US stocks, then Trading212 is still the cheapest platform. The fee is just 0.15% when you trade, so that's roughly 0.3% if you buy and then sell. I know it's different because the prices will change in between, but roughly speaking. You're also going to lose 0.15% on any dividends that get paid to you from a US-based company, because they have to convert it into your base currency when you receive the money. However, if you invest in US stocks more actively, then eToro becomes the cheapest platform. And you will lose 1% on foreign exchange fees when you move money in and out, but then there are no fees at all once you are inside the platform, once the money is already in. If you buy and sell 4 different US stocks over time with the same funds, eToro becomes cheaper than Trading212. This is a really interesting point. Now, before anyone points it out, stake is technically cheaper. Despite the lack of features, the withdrawal fee is only $2 versus the $5 for eToro, and the 0.5% is the same. However, for active trading, the massive lack of features in stake, I think, kind of negates that benefit, because you have to wait several days between being able to sell and then being able to buy. And in the case that I'm discussing here, which is for the more active investor, that is a really important point that can be a much bigger difference than that tiny difference in the fee in the long run. So in my opinion, that actually outweighs it. And so I think on that basis, eToro is still cheaper. By the way, if you're interested in opening an eToro account, you can do so by using my affiliate link in the description below. You will get absolutely nothing for it. You do not get any free shares. There's absolutely no benefit whatsoever. I get paid if you go and use my link. But, you know, it doesn't cost you anything either. So if you do want to do it, I would really appreciate it if you go and check them out. You do have to make a minimum deposit of $200 as well. But anyway, if you invest in US dollar-based ETFs, exactly the same rules apply as do to US stocks and shares that I just mentioned, in terms of which one comes out cheaper, just in case anyone has that question as well. I really hope that helps people decide which kind of is cheapest in terms of just the numbers. Make sure you smash the like button for YouTube algorithm if you want more people to be able to watch this video to make the decision for themselves. And thank you very much for watching. I really, really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys later.